Back now at 7:43 with an NBC News investigation into the quality of the air on passenger planes.
This morning, 4 flight attendants are suing Boeing, the world's biggest plane manufacturer, accusing it of knowing about a defect that allows toxic fumes to leak through the engines and into the cabin. These are fumes that they say could cause serious illness. NBC's Tom Costello covers aviation. He's been looking into this case and a history of other complaints as well. Tom, good morning.
Hi, Savannah. This is air all of us potentially breathe when we're on board an aircraft. For years, flight attendants in the U.S. and in Europe have complained about dangerous fumes in the cabin. Now, this lawsuit and a coroner's report suggesting a British pilot may have died from toxic fume exposure. July 12, 2013, Alaska Airlines Flight 769 makes an emergency landing in Chicago with 4 flight attendants seriously ill after complaining of nauseous chemical fumes in the cabin. 2 of them passed out, including Vanessa Woods.
The next thing I knew, I was on the galley floor, and the other flight attendant was on the PA system, just mumbling incoherently.
Paramedics rushed all 4 to the hospital, sick, disoriented, and struggling to concentrate. 2 years later, 3 of them, including Vanessa Woods, say tremors, neurological, and memory problems still prevent them from returning to work. Now, all 4 are suing Boeing, accusing the plane manufacturer of exposing them and the plane's passengers to toxic fumes that seep into the plane's ventilation system.
I got on that flight. I was healthy. I got off the flight, and I have never been the same since.
Most modern aircraft are ventilated by bleeding outside air through the plane's engines and into the cabin. But experts say if a seal inside the engine leaks, burning oil can mix with the cabin air. The flight attendants' attorneys say it happens once a day somewhere in the world. And citing internal documents, the lawsuit suggests Boeing has been aware of the danger for decades, including this 2007 email from a Boeing engineer who laments, "Bottom line is, I think we're looking for a tombstone before anyone with any horsepower is going to take interest."
We know that Boeing has known this problem exists since the early 1950s. They've known there's a problem. They know there's fume events. They know that contaminants come in through the bleed air.
Emergency landings for fumes or smoky cabins are not unusual, but there's no good data on how many passengers might have suffered ill effects. In 2012, British Airways pilot Richard Westgate died. He'd been on medical leave for 15 months after claiming he'd been poisoned by toxic cabin fumes. In April, a British coroner found symptoms consistent with exposure to organophosphate compounds, oil additives, in the aircraft cabin air. Here in the U.S., the FAA tells NBC News, "We are concerned that if certain mechanical failures occur, the cabin environment may contain contaminants." The nation's largest flight attendant union estimates hundreds, perhaps thousands of crew members and passengers may have been affected over the years, but may not realize why.
They may not realize that they're sick or that it was caused from this contaminated air. So they're not getting properly treated for that poisonous fumes that are now in their system.
Boeing has been sued before and settled. It's declining to comment on today's suit, but in the past has studied the issue and found cabin air is safe to breathe. Research has consistently shown, it says, that cabin air meets health and safety standards and that contaminant levels are generally low. Boeing also says it's looking for ways to improve its planes, and cabin air is one of its many subjects it's studying. The flight attendant suit calls on Boeing to stop using this bleed air system in its new planes and to put air quality sensors in planes already flying to warn pilots if toxic fumes are mixing into the cabin. Importantly, Boeing's newest plane, the 787, does not use the bleed air system to ventilate the cabin. Guys, back to you.
All right, Tom Costello, very interesting. Thank you.